Saturday morning to you, and welcome to On the Mark, along with Mark Papa. I'm Gary Byron. Mark Papa is with Financial Resources Group out of Glastonbury, Connecticut. You can find them online at www.f, as in Frank, R Plan. That's frplan.com. You can also schedule a no-obligation consultation, and matter of fact, what it will do is make you eligible. You will get a $100 gift card. Yes, I think it's more like a gas card that you could use. And how do you get that? Absolutely free. Schedule a no-obligation consultation. 860-657-8380. And if you missed any of those points of contact, no worries. I'll repeating it at least two more times. And just one note before we get started. Last week, at the end of last week's show, I mentioned that we have a new time, and that begins 1 week from today. That would be Saturday, September 20th. This show will be found at 9:30. So we're not going anywhere. The show still continues. It's still going to be fun. You're still going to learn a wealth of information, but there's going to be a time change, and that's to 9:30. Mark, good morning. Great to see you.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How are you?
I'm not doing I'm peachy. Everything is so far. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm very superstitious. I got to knock on table here. But I did notice that you brought a guest in this morning. Please do the introductions.
Yeah, I had to bring in a guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself because he'll do a much better job than me. But Manny's done a lot for me. He's been a webmaster. He's done some websites for me, but that's just one of his many, many talents.
We've talked about your website, too, because you've done a lot just within the last few weeks or maybe a month.
We've done a lot of revamping, a lot of modernizing, and I'm trying to pull all the parts together so that people have a better understanding of how we operate and why we're so much different than the people who are calling on you or sending you mailers and, trying to get your money and invest with them. So we're very unique. I brought Manny on. I did a long time ago, going back 4 or 5 years, I did a podcast on Bitcoin with a friend of mine, and he was fairly knowledgeable, but Manny is an expert at cryptocurrency. So I thought I'd bring him on to talk about that and whatever else he'd like to talk about because he's a multifaceted talent, and we'll give him the mic.
Manny, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Gary and Mark. Appreciate it.
I hear you're a partner at Coinbridge Partners, right?
Yes, sir.
Where are they located? What do they do?
So we're out of Manchester, Connecticut. We're off of Main Street, and what we mainly do is we consult with businesses on how to tokenize and utilize the blockchain for their benefit. I think the blockchain's kind of been a scary subject for most people. It's been around now for almost 16 years, and people are starting to just kind of come around a bit. But I still don't think they understand it. So that's where we come in. We fill that void. We help folks understand it, and more importantly, how to utilize it, take the safest precautions, and go from there.
Mark mentioned Bitcoin. It's certainly a conversation I've had on my morning show. Interestingly enough, this is all I know about Bitcoin. There's a lot of people have made a tremendous amount of money because they got into it very, very early on in the early. Of course, any stock, if you jump on board early on, of course, you're going to get the better deals. I have to confess, it is a subject I know very little on. If I don't use a credit card, which I seldom do, maybe if you're buying something online, I guess you have no choice. I'm one of these people who still pays my utilities and my mortgage with a check. I put a stamp on it and go to the post office. I know I could do it all online. I still go to the bank in person. I don't even get direct deposit. I get the check and I go there. And I use cash when I go out. If I'm having dinner, if I'm buying something at the store, I just dollar. I don't like change, so I just I'll use dollar bills. I don't want to walk around with a bunch of coins in my pocket. What exactly is it a tangible? What is Bitcoin, and how do I buy a coffee with it?
How do you use it? That's right.
Yeah, how do you use it? Exactly.
Well, lots to unpack.
Sorry about that.
No worries. That's fantastic. But I think you're
probably a lot of people
exactly.
feel the same way, right?
You're amongst the many. You're in good company when it comes to that for sure. So just at the highest level. So a little bit about myself. Because I could talk about this stuff all day. My background is in development. So as a programmer. Just by way of industry and space, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies came along to me back in 2014. So that's how long I've been involved.
Wow.
Yeah. Bitcoin itself has been around since 2009. And as I mentioned, we're now here 16 years. And so I truly believe people that use cash would really love Bitcoin because it provides the same exact freedom, right? No bank accounts. You don't have to deal with the banks itself. You're dealing with cash, and in this case, you're dealing with Bitcoin.
Will they put banks out of business one day, or?
I don't think so. I think based on what's happening now, banks have now seen the light, and they're coming to participate and help and onboard and custody your coins is where they want to be because they want to be a part of the action. You know, they've missed quite a bit, and starting about 2020 when regulations started to clear up a bit, they've now got their licenses so that one day they'll press the button, they'll say, well, you can keep your Bitcoin with us, right? But in the most general terms, Satoshi Nakamoto was the program that created Bitcoin. It was based out of freedom. It really was, meaning you could be your own bank. So at the very highest level, Bitcoin provides a way to transact peer-to-peer.
So what's your take on the crypto market right now as we sit in Q3 of 2025? Is it bullish, bearish, or maybe a little bit of both?
So this is where it gets fun, and that's a great question. I personally, along with the other market participants, believe that this is a very bullish time for cryptocurrency. We're in this final wave, this pressure cooker zone. Bitcoin has held fantastically above 100,000 for most of the year, and that's because the institutions are coming in, and they're coming in droves. They started out in 2024 in January, and they bought up so much of it in the past year and a half that they're going to be riding this final wave out to the multi-billions of dollars. So retail is still kind of catching up. They're kind of sidelined. They're very cautious. They, as you mentioned, they just don't know what it is, so they'd rather sit on their hands a bit. But the big boys are participating by the billions.
Anything on altcoins?
Oh, altcoins. That's my favorite. So altcoins, just for those that don't know, is any coin that's not Bitcoin. So altcoins came out.
That's everything else.
It's everything else.
Exactly. And there's a lot of them. As a matter of fact, there's roughly 25,000 different altcoins, and not all of them are going to be worth something. So you got to be very careful when you participate in the altcoin market. But altcoins as well will be very successful in the next coming months. And I can only say that because this bull market that we're in is only going to last for the next couple months. After that, who knows?
Mark, I can hear the excitement in his voice, but let's talk taxes because a lot of people, Mark, jumped into crypto, head first during the last cycle, and many people are now navigating gains, losses, even audits. So my question for you, Mark, is what's the current landscape for crypto holders here in Connecticut?
Well, I mean, Connecticut has capital gains tax, so if you're going to sell some of your Bitcoin at a profit, you're going to be paying a capital gain. You can see me as to how to offset that capital gain. I have many different strategies that will offset up to 30 different strategies through my tax advisory business, which Manny was kind enough to reprogram my new website for Glastonbury tax strategies. But there are plenty of opportunities there to offset capital gains. Also, if you're staking Bitcoin or staking an altcoin, the interest is paid in crypto. And that is now not a tax-preferred interest. That gets paid just like your bank interest. That's ordinary income. So if you're in the 24% tax bracket or 22 bracket or 32 and you're staking, which you're getting a pretty nice yield, you're going to be paying probably, anywhere, whatever your tax bracket is. Or if you're in the 24 bracket, you can pay up to 24% in taxes on that. So you have to be careful of that as well. But yeah, the capital gains, I would say that most coins, I don't know anybody, unless you're trading on a day-to-day basis, which I've seen a lot of people do that, and they're very good at losing money. But those long-term holders, unlike Manny, who was very good at making money, but those if you're long-term, I never sold my Bitcoin. I averaged down on mine. And then
you own some Bitcoin.
I own it through an exchange-traded fund, so it's traded publicly, and then I also own my Ethereum in the same way. I was too lazy to get a crypto wallet, and I don't have to, I was too lazy for that. But yeah, it's done very well for me, and I, continue to look for other opportunities. But there's also Ethereum too that maybe Manny wants to touch on.
I would imagine a good CPA though would be able to help you offset crypto gains against, let's say, real estate losses.
Let me tell you something. CPAs are backward looking. They're not frontward looking. They don't have time to plan ahead for you. That's why you call tax strategists like me, and I will help you plan ahead. You need to react before the end of the year. There's only so many backflips and loopholes that we're going to find you need to plan ahead. If you have a big capital gain, give me a call. I'll show you how to eliminate it.
Manny, a moment ago you were talking about Cambridge, who you work for, and how you're helping clients. Coinbridge.
Yes.
What did I say?
Cambridge.
Oh, Cambridge. Oh, I must be thinking about heading up to Mass. No, I'm sorry, Coinbridge. I apologize. It's. I think you were saying how it's helping people to generate wealth, and create generational wealth through crypto. Very broad statement. Could you break that down maybe in practical terms? Or
absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I think Bitcoin's been around for a while, and depending on when you got in, you could have gotten really lucky. But it certainly isn't a get quick rich scheme. It does take strategy. It does take getting advice from smart people like Mark. But what we do is we teach people how to safely custody those coins so that you're not leaving it to other people. We show you how to actually utilize OTC counters so that if you're looking to make a big purchase, you're not paying a whole bunch of fees. And this is very much catered to the high net worth individuals that we work with. And we show folks how to integrate that cryptocurrency into different newer financial products like IRAs and trusts and things like that so that you can build a long-term generational wealth with Bitcoin. Now, what's nice about Bitcoin is, unlike some of the other altcoins that I mentioned, there's only 21 million coins that will only ever exist. So if you own Bitcoin, especially if you in the earlier years, then using Mark and folks like myself will help you leverage that wealth so that it does last generationally.
Now, you said it's been around since, what, 2009?
Yeah.
And you got into it in 2014.
Yeah.
Why was it? I don't think first time I heard it was maybe even after that, maybe 2018 or 2019.
Sure, yeah.
And people are still learning about it now.
Yeah.
Why the slow rise in popularity? Why didn't it just go right to the stratosphere upon?
Sure, yeah. So I compare it to like the early 90s computing internet boom, right? Not everybody had their first personal computer in the early 90s, and not everybody went on
Great
the internet
analogy.
and things like that.
That
And so that's exactly what Bitcoin was. When 2009 it first came out, that was like the old AOL kind of signing on.
Yeah, but within 5 years, everybody had a home PC.
Oh, yeah. Well, in 2017, as you mentioned, that's when most people started hearing about it because that was probably the biggest bull cycle that we've seen so far. I mean, 21 was kind of half because of COVID, and here we are in 25. That's really going to rock people's world. It has been. But yeah, in the earlier stages, people just didn't really know about it. They were kind of getting acclimated with it. All the rumors that surrounded it, things like it's going to replace the dollar.
Yeah, okay, that's my next question.
Yeah.
Will it replace cash?
No, not at all. That was never the purpose. That was none of that. I mean, in fact, you need some type of liquidity source in order for Bitcoin to actually function. So, as mentioned, 21 million coins. There's not enough coins to go around. So eventually, scarcity is going to kick in, and that old supply and demand is going to increase in value.
21 million coins. That's it. They've limited it.
That's
Oh,
it.
what
And
about-
are they all sold?
No, of the 21 million coins, about 19.5 million circulating. The remaining amount will take about 100 years to hit the market.
Why?
Because a process called proof of work, which is mining, Bitcoin mining takes a long time, and every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that gets released from Bitcoin mining halves. So, for instance, if 2024 was our last halving, prior to that, every block that was mined would receive 6 Bitcoin as a reward for mining that block. In 2024, that cut in half to 3. In 2028, that's going to cut in half to 1.5. And every 4 years, it'll cut down in half until there's no Bitcoin to release. So in the year 2140, that's expected to be the last 21 million Bitcoin available in the marketplace.
Which, of course, supply and demand tells me that it's only going to go up.
It's only going to go up. And there's only so many millionaires and billionaires in the world that'll be able to buy it. And so that's why the folks that got in early were able to participate in that rise of appreciation.
So if I bought Bitcoin today, what is it? Do you even know what it is?
I do. I check it every moment.
What is it?
When I left the office, it was 111,400 and some change.
111,000 a share?
A coin.
So a coin. Okay, so this is not traded on the stock market.
Correct. So shares and tokens or assets or coins, completely different. So there is, unlike shares that are issued by a company, there is no company that issues Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a think of it as a protocol.
So you own some Bitcoin.
I do own some Bitcoin, yes.
And if I were to buy one Bitcoin, it'd be $111,000. And it's only going to go up.
Well,
or is it like any other stock? It
like
could go down.
A market.
It is like a market. Okay.
So think of it like your house. So if you bought your house today, you're not necessarily going to sell your house tomorrow, right? But you would sell it if the price was right. Same thing with Bitcoin. You got to think of it as an asset versus. They think of it as a currency because you can transact with it like a currency.
Well, why would you ever cash it in? Even if it goes down, it'll eventually it'll go back up again.
People have different needs. If you need cash flow or cash in general, then you own Bitcoin and it's appreciated. For sure, see somebody like Mark to help you with those gains, and then you can utilize that cash back. But yeah, it's like a house.
Mark, Manny brought something pretty big up. Crypto in IRAs and trusts, are those viable tools right now?
I mean, yeah. Well, they're actually going to allow them in 401k plans. Isn't that correct? And
signed, yeah.
I would say that the volatility, not everyone can stomach, and it's not for the faint of heart. I think over time it becomes a more adoptable asset class, but you have to understand that stocks are volatile. Crypto is volatile. Even bonds are volatile. That's what people don't understand. That bonds, and again, look at the market a couple of weeks ago with that tariff news and the national debt growing like crazy. I said in my last podcast, the radio show is going to be, we're adding $1 trillion in debt every 5 months. Manny, you speak to that. That can only help Bitcoin, I'd imagine.
100%. Bitcoin is deflationary, so there's no way to print more. Right, so it's becoming less and less. Unlike the dollar, where they can just print whenever they want.
Yeah.
Right. So, in terms of that, I think Bitcoin is going to appreciate with that because of that. It's a deflationary asset.
It's too late for me to get in.
Never.
No.
It's not that I don't have $111,000, but I wouldn't take my. I don't know if I would take my $111,000 and buy a Bitcoin. There's other areas I could put that in.
Not required. So even though one Bitcoin is worth and valued at $111,000, it's broken down into pieces called Satoshi. So you could buy a little chunk of Bitcoin. You could buy $1 worth of Bitcoin if you'd like. Bitcoin, unlike the dollar has 2 decimals. Bitcoin has 8. So you could buy up to 8 decimal points worth of Bitcoin, and those are called Satoshis.
That's incredible. Yeah. And then you can also buy it through an exchange-traded fund.
That too.
Ethereum has one now. They have one for a bunch for Bitcoin, and I think XRP is about to launch.
On the way.
Do you have Bitcoin?
Yeah, I have mine through, I don't know if I have to just full disclosure, IBIT, which is the Fidelity Bitcoin. Wisdom Tree has a Bitcoin. I think BlackRock has a Bitcoin.
The biggest ETF, yeah.
Yeah, and then you also have Ethereum, which prior to that they were in these things called trusts. So and then they're the ones that fought really hard to get it in an exchange traded fund, so they can be, the fees could be a lot lower.
Let me do this quick ID. Folks, you are listening to On the Mark. Along with Mark Papa, I'm Gary Byron. We have a guest, Manny. Is it Manny Rivera?
Yes, sir.
Nice. I'm learning so much from this guy, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well. You can contact Mark Papa over at Financial Resources Group very easily. 860.
Put a plug in for Manny, too.
I'm going to have him do that because I don't know if I have that written in front of me. Hold on, let me do this first. You can contact Financial Resources Group at 860-657-8380 and online at frplan.com. Manny, please plug your. I'd love for you to plug your business because I know you're doing, incredible work for a lot of people.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. And
Coinbridge Partners.
Coinbridge Partners. Yes, you can visit our website coinbridgepartners.io. You can email us at info@coinbridgepartners.io or give us a call anytime or text 860-376-0706. And I'd be happy to walk you through any questions you may have.
I'm going to have you repeat that more towards the end of the show. So I don't want anybody to miss out. It seems like there's so much to learn about. Let's bring this all home, Manny. People are looking. I still have about 6-7 minutes here, so people are looking for advice. Who are maybe they're crypto curious, perhaps still a little hesitant. How would somebody be able to dip a toe in this without, losing? I don't want to say losing money. You're always taking a risk when you buy stock, even, but without taking up all their savings,
sure.
And putting into something that's relatively unknown to them or they're not familiar with?
Absolutely. I would say the best way to start the race is to start. So at this point in time, it's riskier not to participate than it is to participate. And so just like with any speculative asset, never put in more than what you're willing to lose. Always start off small and use trusted sources such as the ETFs that Mark mentioned, or purchasing it directly and placing it on a wallet that you actually own. And that's a whole other talk point. But holding your assets on the wallet that you own, by far, again, going back to that freedom, makes you own the actual coin. But starting small. Start where you feel best at doing that, whether it's $100 or $1,000. But start and diversify. I would always tell folks start with the 80-20 rule. 80% always goes into the Bitcoin, and 20% can go into the altcoins and the rest.
Right, as a percentage of your total assets, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
We treat it as an alternative asset class. So when I do alt asset, I won't go more than 5 or 6%. Even real estate's 5-6% of our model. You don't want to go too deep into the woods on it, because if it doesn't work out, you want to be able to recover.
Right.
So,
exactly.
But, I mean, another great resource that Manny has. I signed up for his. What do you have? What is that? A Discord or is it a
Patreon?
A Patreon. Yeah. So those are two similar type strategies. So I signed up for his Patreon. So once a day I get an email on all what's going on in crypto, and I can just scan it. The education is incredible because he talks about the setup, the technicals, the fundamentals, everything, and it really keeps me on my toes. So thanks to him.
Do you ever have anybody that just comes to you and says, all right.
I want to bring one more point
go
up real
ahead,
quick.
Go ahead.
The other thing I want to talk about, too, is you need to speak with somebody who is credible in crypto. So I remember I called Manny about pig butchering. Remember I did the show on the pig butchering?
A few weeks back,
on the scams. You have to make sure it's a Coinbase, a Robinhood, a legitimate source of that's calling you. If someone's calling you to buy Bitcoin, you should just ignore them, because chances are it's a scam. It might have come through your WhatsApp, might have come through Facebook, Messenger, Telegram. Stay away. Okay, you got to call someone like Manny or call a financial advisor that knows how to detect fraud. That's just, I want to put that plug in before
I'm glad you did. That was really good stuff. Manny, has anybody ever just called and said, all right, listen, I'm new to this. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. Let's see how a little bit. Here's $10,000. What can you do for me? Or do you sit there and say, I can't even get you started with $10,000?
Absolutely. We love starting with folks at that point. And what we do is we've actually developed software called Illuminex that allows myself and other financial advisors to connect to the exchange account that the end user or client has created without giving up your assets. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So, there you go ahead and open up an exchange account on one of the credible exchanges that Mark just mentioned, a Coinbase, a Kraken, and then what we do is you supply the $10,000 to the exchange. It's in your name and in your account. We then connect via what's called an API to our software that allows us to trade on your behalf. So you get a professional that's making your trades on your behalf, which is fantastic. And what I would say to anybody, again, starting off small, we want to position you at the best possible price, because it is a 7 days a week, 365 days a year market. It does not shut down over the weekend.
What determines if it goes up or down the market here? Since it's not Wall Street.
Is supply and demand. So when you get, like last Sunday, we had a whale dump $2 billion worth of Bitcoin on the market, open market at that, on a Sunday evening, and it literally dropped the price from 117,000 to 110, just like that. Now, if you didn't know any better, you'd probably lose your pants, that type of thing, because you just saw a drop that was tremendous. But because it's blockchain, and that's the key part about this whole thing, the underlying technology is called blockchain. The asset that sits on top of it is the coin. In this case, it's Bitcoin. So the blockchain records every single transaction and is available to the public. And if you didn't know how to decipher that information that's publicly available, you just wouldn't know things like that.
In our final 2 minutes here, probably a question I should have asked you from the get-go. Yeah. Your credentials, where did you learn this? How long? I know you got into you started learning about it in 2014. Sure. What's your background?
Sure. I'm a programmer by trade, a web developer, webmaster, as Mark mentioned. I've been my MD Tech team is a web development company out of Manchester, Connecticut. We started in 2007. So I've been programming for a long time. And so because of that, like many other industries in the computing space, blockchain is just now a sub-industry. And because of my timing and position and my existing knowledge, it kind of just flowed into me. Meaning I was able to read the white paper, understand it clearly, and then said, man, this could possibly be it. And since 2014, you just had a lot of battles. People.
I mean, do you have a financial back? I've known Mark. I grew up with Mark. We went to high school. But, I mean, do you have a background in finance or a background?
No, my background's in technical. That's what's even great about it. So,
I want to get him licensed, by the way.
Yeah, he's been working on me.
This guy,
I would hire. I mean, seriously. I mean, he wears many hats, but I mean, he'd be a fantastic financial advisor. But I think he's already pretty much set.
So your full-time job is creating websites and maintaining websites.
Yeah.
Crypto is just something. Does anybody do crypto full-time?
I mean, if you were going to say full-time, it would be myself. I mean, I'm behind. If you go to my office, it's 4 screens, it's charts everywhere, it's looking at the blockchain explorer, it's all that.
It's like the Gordon Gekko of Bitcoin over here.
Have you been to my office? Well, it'll be fun to see you guys come to my office. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you take walk-ins in Manchester?
I'm appointment only because I got to lock my door to make sure I'm safe. But yeah, I'm in Manchester. Come see us when you can by appointment. Shoot us a text. We're between Urban Lodge and I think Audacity's there now, so we can grab a beer, a bite, and talk Bitcoin.
All right. I'm going to wrap things up, and I'm going to have you give your points of contact in one moment. Folks, if you are, and let me just take 30 seconds. Do you want to wrap things up as far as taxes are concerned on this, Mark? I want to make sure I give you the opportunity just to kind of
I would tell anybody, if you have a realized capital gain for the year, whether it's short or long, give me a call, 860-657-8380 through Glastonbury Tax Advisors. We can help you offset that capital gain, and not just on there's plenty of ways to do it, but I want to leave the rest of the
Manny,
time
give your points of contact right now.
Absolutely. CoinbridgePartners.io is the website you could visit. Manny or info@CoinbridgePartners.io is the email, and the phone number is 860-376-0706. You can call or text, and I'll do my best to
I want to thank our guest, Manny. What? We're getting bogged down here with lots of sounds here. Manny Rivera, thank you for your time for being with us. For Mark Papa, with Financial Resources Group, you can find him online at frplan.com, frplan.com, and also 860-657-8380. That's 860-657-8380 for Financial Resources Group out of Glastonbury. Hey, remember, next Saturday morning, our new time, 9:30. Same day, same morning, but at 9:30. Check us out then. For Mark Papa, I'm Gary Byron. Thank you so much for listening to On the Mark. Until next Saturday morning at 9:30, have a good one, everybody. So long.